can bank on it. You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stamp on it. In a private plane, I lamp on it. Lele oh, they call me Bankole. Cause I walk around with the bank on it. Show them Gangnam Style, put the gang on it. Twist my fingers.
So guys, the materials that I'm using for this actual top is medium weight yarn. Of course, you can use whatever color. As you guys seen from the thumbnail, I did kind of make this top twice, so because I wanted to play with the colors. So do keep that in mind, that you can also play with the colors. I am using a 3mm for the entire project, and of course you will be needing some scissors because you're going to be cutting yarn throughout the project if you're going to be using different colors. So let's get right into the video. So to get started, you're going to make a slip knot, and you're going to go ahead and chain 30 chains. So I did chain a total of 30. So I did write the pattern for this top. So if you want to see the pattern for different sizes, then it will be linked down in my store. So go check it out so you can have the pattern for full sizes. But I'm going to go ahead and chain 30, and that is going to be the length of my top. So after 30, I'm going to go ahead and chain an extra one, which is going to be a turning chain. And right into the second chain from the crochet hook, I'm going to go with my first half double crochet. And this pattern is worked with half double crochet and single crochet. So I'm going to repeat one half double crochet until I get to the very end of this row, which means I'm going to have a total of 30 half double crochet at the end of the row. So right here, coming to the end of the row, I'm just making sure I add one half double crochet in every space, because you want to make sure you keep the same amount of chains. So you want to make sure you have a total of 30 half double crochet if you chain 30 at the beginning. So from here on, this is how it looks, and we are going to go ahead and go into the next row, which is chain 1 and turn. And this time around, we are going to go into the back loops, because again, we want to make sure the top is stretchy. So you're going to go right into that first half double crochet with a single crochet, and you're going to go in the back loop and just basically repeat one single crochet into every half double crochet from the previous row up until the very end of the row. So I'm going to get that done, then I'll come back and show you guys what the next step is. So coming to the end of row 2, I'm also making sure I go right into that last half double crochet we did from the previous row with my last single crochet. Again, you want to make sure you keep the same amount of stitches. So if using a stitch marker helps you, then I'll suggest you do so. I usually just don't use stitch markers, so you want to make sure you just keep the same amount of stitch. So right here, you guys can see that I'm going to switch my yarn. Again, like I said, this is optional. You can switch this yarn however you want to switch, whatever color pattern you're going for. But again, I'm just going to switch my yarn right there so I can get started with the next row. So from here on, you're basically going to switch between half double crochet and single crochet row, and change your yarn color whenever you want to. If you also want to make this top in just one color, that is perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that. I did a total of 50 rows with no increase and no decrease. That is going to be the back panel before we start increasing and start working on the front panel. So if you're making a size smaller, then you probably need less, which I'll suggest 40 rows. And if you're making a size bigger, then you probably need more. So depending on the size you're making, you're going to go ahead and switch in between, and just continue to switch in between half double crochet and single crochet, making sure you're working in the back loop, because that is very important for the stretch and for the pattern. And I'm going to get that done, and then I'll come back to you guys when I have my row 50 complete. So right here, I have a total of 50 rows. And this is how it looks. And again, this is the pattern that I went for with the colors, just so I have something a little bit different from the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and take a measurement and see how wide this is. I think it's at this point 11 inches. But again, keep in mind that this pattern is very stretchy. So this actually fits a large perfectly, a medium and large perfectly. So right there, we are going to go ahead and start increasing for the neck line. So for the armpit area, so I continue to use this pattern for the increase pattern, and then I had to, like, if you see from the thumbnail, switch to one color, because that's what I was going for, and I think it makes the top look way more nicer than using the entire color pattern for the actual top. And so for the armpit area, you're basically going to go ahead and finish the last row, which is going to be a no increase row or no decrease row, because now we are going to go ahead and increase. Remember, the first set of 50 rows is with no increase and no decrease. So right there, to get started with your first row, you're going to row 51 in my case. I am going to go into that first stitch, depending on what's actual, if I ended up with a half double crochet or single crochet. So you're basically just going to check if you ended up with a single crochet. That means this row is going to be with half double crochet. So I'm going to go right into that first stitch with my first half double crochet, and I will go back into that same stitch with another half double crochet, which is going to be my first row of increase. And from there on, I'm just going to continue with one half double crochet until I get to the very end of the row, and I'll see you guys at the end. So coming to the end of row 51, I'm just making sure I add my last half double crochet into that last stitch, because I will not be increasing or decreasing on this side of the panel. All the increase and decreasing will be done at the opposite side of the panel. So right there, I'm going to chain one and continue to work my one single crochet until I get to the very top of the row where I'm actually going to do my second increase, because I'm going to go ahead and increase for a total of 15 rows. If you're making a size small, then I would suggest you do increasing for 10 rows, and if you're making a size bigger, then I'll suggest you stick to the 15 rows, because that is perfect. So right there, I'm just going to continue to do one single crochet until I get to the very top of row 52, where I'm going to go into that last stitch with 2 single crochets, because that is going to be my second increase for the top panel. So coming to the last stitch, I'm going to go ahead and go into that stitch with 2 single crochet. Again, this is going to be the second increase for this pattern. And from here on, I'm just going to go ahead and switch my color like the pattern I've been working on, the color pattern I've been working on, and I'm going to repeat this increase row for a total of 15 increase. Again, if you're making a size small, extra small, then 10 increase will do. That means 10 more rows of increasing will be do, but if you're making a size bigger than 15 rows of increasing will do. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this until I get to a total of 15 rows of increase, which is going to be row 65, and I'll come back and show you guys what the next step is. So right there, I just finished my row of increasing, so which means obviously the top has gotten a little bit longer. So the first set of chain that we did is going to be the back panel, and the increasing is going to obviously increase until the top is a little bit higher for the front panel. So right there, you can see it's 9 inches at this point. So we are going to stop increasing, and from here on, we are going to work on the neckline. And the neckline is basically half double crochet and single crochet in the back loop with no increase and no decrease. And I did a total of 20 rows of no increasing and no decreasing. So you want to still make sure you go into that last stitch with your increase, because the increasing counts on the stitches. So again, you can switch your yarn if you need to, but I am going to switch my yarn to this purple color, and that is going to be the main color for the top, like I said previously, because I feel like it gives the top more volume and more finesse basically. So I'm going to switch to my main color, and this time around I'm just going to chain one and turn, and I'm going to repeat one half double crochet or one single crochet depending on what your last stitch was, what your last row was, and I'm going to repeat that with no increasing and no decreasing for a total of 20 rows. And when I get that done, then I'll come back and show you guys what the pattern looks like. So you're basically going to repeat one half double crochet in the back loop. When you get to the end of the row, you're going to chain one and switch to a single crochet row. When you get to that end of the row, you're going to chain one and switch to half double crochet, and going to do that for a total of 20 rows. If you're making a size small, extra small, medium, and large, then you're going to be needing the same 20 rows. If you're making a size extra large, then 30 rows will be fine. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'll see you guys. So right here I have a total of 65 rows, and I have the center complete, which is going to be the center panel. So this means we are going to start decreasing again, because remember we had to increase for us to get to this length. So we need to decrease again so we can balance the pattern off. And because I did a total of 15 increase, I'm going to do a total of 15 decrease. And I'm also going to go with the same color pattern that I did. Again, this is totally optional. You do not have to. But if you want to make your top a little bit more uniform, then I'll suggest you go with the same color pattern. So basically, from where you stopped increasing, you're going to go and check the colors and switch in between the colors until you get to the last decrease row, which is going to be 15 rows of decrease. So right there, I'm going to insert my crochet hook and going to start my next row, which is going to be my row 66, which is going to be my decrease row for this case. So because I'm going to be decreasing, I am not going to chain anything. I'm just going to turn over my work, and I'm going to go into the second stitch from the previous row with my first stitch. So depending on what stitch your previous row was, you're just going to go into that next stitch, which in my case is a single crochet row. I'm going to go into that next stitch with a single crochet, which is the second stitch from the previous row, and I'm basically going to repeat one single crochet up until the very end. And remember, I said, like, the increasing and the decreasing will be done at one end of the panel, so that means the other end does not need any increasing or any decreasing. So you're just going to insert your crochet yarn, switch your colors if you need to, and you're just going to go ahead and skip the first stitch and go. I'm just basically trying to see if I can single crochet over the yarn instead of just having to go back and do this at the end. So right there, I'm going to go with my afterbird crochet and just repeating this until the very end. But you can see that I did skip the first stitch because that is the decrease end. And I'm going to repeat this until I get to the very end of the row. Chain one, and I'm going to come upwards with my single crochet row and make sure I decrease the last two. But I'll go get that done, and then I'll come back and show you guys what the next step is. So coming to the very top of that single crochet row, I'm going to go ahead and decrease that two last stitch together, because again, this is going to be my second decrease for the pattern. And from there on, I'm going to turn my work, because we are going to continue with decreasing, and skip the first single crochet, and into the second I'm going to go in the back loop with my afterbird crochet, and I'm going to repeat this one afterbird crochet until the very end. And I'm basically going to repeat this for a total of 15 rows. So you're going to do the same thing you did on the opposite side. If you did 10 increase, you're going to do 10 decrease. If you did 20 increase, you're going to do 20 increase. So in my case, I did 15. I'm going to go ahead and decrease for 15 rows, and I'll come back and show you guys what the next step is. So right here, I just completed my 15 rows of decreasing. Again, after completing the total of 15 rows of decrease, or whatever amount of rows you did, you should actually get back to the basic chain. So in my case, I chained a total of 30. So after the decrease, I should have a total of 30 afterbird crochet or 30 single crochet, depending on what my last row was. So right here, I'm just cutting off all the extra yarn so I can attach one end of the panel to the opposite end. So because of the switch between afterbird crochet and single crochet, your pattern will tend to look, one side will tend to look way longer than the other side. But that's why I also suggest that you count the stitches. So make sure you have a total of 30 stitches, because that's what you had at the beginning. And you're just going to actually straighten everything together. Because of the stretch, one end might be longer than the other one, like I said previously. So right there, I'm just going to make sure I stretching everything well, because we are going to go ahead and single crochet that one end of the panel to the opposite end of the panel as well, because now the panel is almost complete, and the body panel is actually complete at this point. So this is just me actually stretching everything, making sure everything is straightened, because it's not because you decreased or you skipped a stitch, it's just because the switch between single crochet and half double crochet tend to just shrink as you work on the pattern. So right there, I'm just making sure I straighten that 2 last stitch and making sure it actually fits and align together before I start single crocheting both of the ends together. You can also use a needle for this. You don't have to single crochet, or you can also use a slip stitch, but you're basically just going to attach both ends of the panel together with whatever you want to use, and I'll do that and come back and show you guys what the next step is. So this is what the pattern looks like. You're obviously going to turn the pattern upside down, and now we are going to work on the neckline. So the neckline is going to be worked on the 20 stitches that we did with no increasing and no decreasing. So you're going to attach your yarn to one end of it. So if you did use a different color, if you had a main color between your color pattern, then this will be easy for you. So I'm just going to attach my yarn with a secure knot, and I'm just going to make a long chain. I chained a total of 120, but again, you can make this as short or as long as you want to. I'm just going to make a total of 120 chain, and I'm going to cut off the yarn and attach the yarn to the opposite end of the panel, which is basically going to be among the 20 rows we did for no increasing and no decreasing. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'll come back and show you guys what the next step is. So again, you're going to attach your yarn to the opposite end as you see me doing, and I'm going to chain a total of 121, in this case 121 instead of 120, because the chain one is going to be a turning chain. And afterwards, I'm just going to go ahead and go into the second chain from the crochet hook with half double crochet, and I'm basically going to repeat 1 half double crochet in every chain. All across this first chain, I'll go right on top of the body of the panel, which is the 20 rows we did, and go into the next chain and repeat that until the very end of the chain. This is going to be a long I think this took so much time, but again guys, it's gonna be worth it. So you're going to go right across right there until you get to the opposite side of the chain, and you're going to repeat that until the very end. So after that, you're just going to chain 1 and go back with single crochet, and just switch between a single crochet and half double crochet like we worked for the pattern. And this is how it looks when it's complete. You're going to go ahead and repeat the same thing on the bottom part of the top, just to add a little finesse to it. The only difference now is we're going to go ahead and take a measurement here, because you're going to decide how much space you want to leave in between the back panel. So you're going to grab your measurement tape and just measure the back of your panel. And in my case, again, it's still 11 inches. I'm just going to go in a few inches inwards and attach my yarn right there. So I did go 4 inches inwards, and I'm going to attach my yarn right there and make a secure knot and just chain a random chain. I think I did a total of 150, just something a little bit longer than the chain from the neckline. And again, you're going to repeat the same thing, take the same measurement. If you did 4 inches inwards, you're going to do 4 inches inwards on the opposite end. You're going to go ahead and make a long chain, the same amount, just chain 1 as an extra turning chain, and you're going to go back into the chain with half double crochet all across the body of the top to the opposite end of the chain, and you're going to chain 1 turn and repeat the single crochet and back and forth until you have a total of 10 rows. I did a total of 10 rows. You can do more if you want the top to be a little bit longer, because this is going to add more length to it. And that is basically it for this tutorial, guys. It's super easy. And of course, if you want the pattern for the different sizes, it's going to be down in the description box below. check it out and support me. And if you guys enjoyed this video and if this was easy to follow, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up as well, so I would know and so that YouTube can push this video to more audience. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, of course, let me know and I will make time to answer the questions. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Don't leave me. Subscribe and stay. I guess I'll see you guys in another video. Bye bye.
You can bank on it. You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I'll stamp on it. In a private plane, I'll lamp on it.